This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. So here we will actually check. We will use gs dot has role exactly. So this has role exactly what it does is that, so it will actually check whether the current logged in user has this specified role or not. If he has that role, it will return true. If he doesn't have that role, it will return false. It will not check for admin access. Okay, hope you understand the difference. Difference between has role and has role exactly. You guys got it or not? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, Uday.
Yeah. So also we can actually discuss about g underscore user dot. So has role from list. So what does this has role from list does is that, so let us say if you have specified any one of these roles, ITIL role, ITIL, comma, ITIL underscore admin, comma, report underscore admin, comma. So if user has role any one of these role, so that means if the current logged in person has any one of these roles, like if user has ITIL role, it will return true. If he doesn't have ITIL or ITIL admin role and he has report admin role, it will return true. Okay, so here I am just keeping an alert here. I'm just keeping an alert here. So it is returning true. So current logged in person doesn't have this role. That is why it is returning false. If the current logged in person has any one of these roles, then it will return true. So let us let me just impersonate as another user. Impersonate user. So Abad Fath I have actually, I'm actually impersonating as him. Okay. So here, what are we doing is, I'm just refreshing this one. Here we will get to know. So it is returning false. Because why is it returning false? This current logged in user has, this Abed Fath has no roles among these three. No roles among these three. So let me just stop the impersonation. Let me just stop the impersonation. Okay. So what am I doing is, I am going to grant the role to Abed Fath as ITIL role. Just give me a while, guys. Yeah. So here what I'm doing is I'm actually adding a role to here I'm actually adding a role to Abed. So what role I'm actually granting? So I'm actually granting ITL role. Okay. So as I have granted ITL role here, I am actually impersonating as him. I am impersonating as him. Now, if you refresh this incident, it will actually return true because Abad has now ITL role. See, it is returning ITL role. So Abad doesn't have ITL admin role. He also doesn't have report admin role. So he has only ITL role. Still, it is returning true. Hope you understand, guys. If current login user has any one of these roles, then it will return true. Do you guys understand?
Yes, Uday.
Okay. So let me just stop the impersonation here. Okay. So here we also will have to talk about few more things. So you can get the session variables. You can get the session variables that is actually get client data, put client data. So g underscore user dot get client data. So this get client data, so which is accessed in a different manner. So how did we get that is that? So let us say get my value, get my value. Okay, I have actually kept something like this one. Get client data. So what am I doing is, guys, just remember whatever the script that I'm writing, you might not be able to understand here, but I'll be covering this part, business rules part in different session. But as part of get client data explanation, I'm actually explaining this part. Okay. See guys, gs dot get session dot put client data. So in the put client data, I'm actually keeping the key and keeping it as hello, I am Uday Gadiparthi. See here, I'm actually keeping the key here and value I'm actually keeping here in the put client data. Put client data. Okay. So in the get client data, I have actually called that key. So now if I refresh this one, what is it returning? Hello, I am Uday Gadiparthi. So did I write hello Uday Gadiparthi in the client side scripting? In the onload client script? Did I write, guys?
No.
No.
No. So what did I do? I just called the key. I just called the key using get client data. So this client data I have actually kept here in this business rule as put client data. See, put client data, get my value, and that get my value I have actually called it here. Hello, I am Uday Gadiparthi. I have written this one somewhere. That is actually business rule. So that is about Glide user, guys. So Glide user is majorly used to get the current logged in user information. Okay. So now you guys are able to understand Glide user, right?
Yes.
Yes, Uday.
Okay. So now I am going to talk about Glide Form API. Okay. Glide Form. Hmm. Glide Form API. So before we move on, I'll just explain what is Glide Form. Okay. So let me just open incident form here. So let me just open incident form here. In the incident form, we know how to make the field mandatory. Okay, we know how to make the field mandatory at the dictionary level. How to make the field mandatory at dictionary level, guys?
Go to
How
the
to,
property of the dictionary and make it mandatory.
so you will right click, go to configure dictionary, and you will go to that property and click on that mandatory. So it will become mandatory. So based on condition, if you want to make field mandatory, what do you do?
We will create a UA policy.
We will create a UA policy. Okay. So if that validation should also work in the server side, then you will create as data policy. Okay. If that validation should happen in all the sites, then you will also you will create a data policy. You understand, right? When do you create UA policy? When do you create a data policy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So guys, using script also you can make field mandatory. Using script also you can hide the fields. Using script also you can make the field read only. So using script, I mean using glide form, you can actually make the changes, whatever the changes that you want. You can actually make those changes on the form. Glide form is actually used on the form. If you want to make any changes on the form, you will use glide form. So let us say if you want to show some message here, or if you want to hide this field, if you want to make this field mandatory, okay, if you want to hide the sections, okay, so if you want to make changes on the form level, if you want to make changes on the form level, then you will use glide form. So just remember, if you want to make any changes on the form, you will use glide form API. This is actually called form, guys. Understand? You guys
Yes.
are able to understand, right? You guys are able to
Yes,
understand.
Uday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here, first on the form, if you want to show any information, so glide form can be accessed in the platform using g underscore form dot add info message. If you refresh this one, that info message you will see here. See, hey, I am info message. See, whatever that we have written, right? Hey, I am info message. So here you are able to show this in a blue color, right? Okay. So I want to show this in a red color, warning. Okay. So you can use g_form dot error message, which will show you in a red color. See, this is like a warning. To give you the warning, we will use add error message. If you want to clear those messages, you will use g_form dot clear messages. So which will actually remove these two messages. Okay. So now g_form dot, okay, g_form dot add option. For the drop down fields, let us say this is actually drop down field. If you want to add a new option here, okay, if you want to add a new option here, so you can add a new option for which field? Category. Okay, so you will have to pass three parameters here. First one is category. Second one, choice value. Choice value I am actually keeping a here as Uday. Label also I am keeping it as Uday. I am creating a new option in the category field. If I refresh this one, you will be able to see Uday category here. See Uday category. So likewise, if you want to add an option in the client, you can use g_form dot add option. So if you want to remove the same option, g_form dot remove option. So remove option. So on which field you want to remove the option? Okay. See now you can see that option is removed. Okay. If you want to clear all the options, g_form dot clear options, which will actually remove all the options. So why did it not remove all the options? We did not specify on which field option we have to remove. So category options I have to remove. I have just selected category. So here guys, while practicing, you guys might get confused. So all options are clear. So while practicing, you guys might get confused. So what are all the parameters we have to pass and all? So these things you will get to know while practicing. For add option, you will have to pass three parameters. For remove option, you will have to pass two parameters. That is like for add option, you have to keep a field name. So choice value, choice label. So here, while removing, you will provide the field name. Here, to remove the option, you will need choice value. Okay, here you have actually selected choice value. So clear options. So clear options will actually remove all the options. Okay. So if you want to make the field mandatory, g_form dot set mandatory. So which field we can make field mandatory? I'm making assignment group as mandatory. So If you want to make mandatory, you will have to pass Boolean value that is actually true. See, assignment group is now mandatory field. So how did I make this field mandatory? G underscore form dot set mandatory. Using G underscore form dot set mandatory, I have actually made this as mandatory. So if already it is mandatory field, if you want to make that as non-mandatory, so let us say caller field is actually mandatory field, right? Already caller field is actually mandatory field. If you want to make this non-mandatory, so what do? You will use G underscore form dot set mandatory caller ID comma false, which will actually, what it does is that which will actually make this as non-mandatory. Set mandatory false. Caller ID false. This field is not getting false. Mandatory false. So mandatory false means it should set all the fields append.
Is there any maybe override script which is making mandatory?
Might be. Might be. So here I will try to make the non-mandatory of assignment group field itself. G underscore form dot set mandatory assignment group as false. We will check whether the assignment group is now mandatory or non-mandatory. So now it is non-mandatory because here we have in the 10th line we made this as mandatory, and in the 12th line I have made this as non-mandatory. So here I want to check whether the field is mandatory field or not. Whether the field is mandatory field or not. So how am I checking is G underscore form dot is mandatory. So is mandatory will check whether the field is mandatory or not. So caller ID. Caller ID is actually mandatory one or not, I need to check. Okay, caller ID is obviously a mandatory field. Okay, caller ID is actually a mandatory field. If I refresh this one, Caller is actually a mandatory field. Why is it returning false? Already we made here as false, right? Already mandatory false. Already is actually a mandatory field, right? So short description here is actually a mandatory field. If it is mandatory field, it should return true here. Is mandatory short description true? So we will check whether the assignment group is now mandatory or not. So here we are actually making true, right? Now it should return true here. Why is it not working on the fields? Is mandatory or not? So it is returning true because assignment group is actually a mandatory field. That is why it is returning true here. So when it comes to the caller ID, why is it not showing mandatory? I'm not really sure. Caller underscore ID. Caller ID is actually a mandatory field, but still. I can understand now. Why is it returning false? I can understand. So I have to explain very important point here. So the time has come. That is why I have to explain this thing very clear. See, this caller field is not actually getting mandatory from this property. From where exactly this is getting mandatory? From where exactly this is getting mandatory? Hmm? This caller field is getting mandatory not from here. Okay. Or it has to get mandatory from dictionary overrides because this field is not coming from parent table. This field is directly coming from incident table. Here you don't have a dictionary override option. So this caller field is actually getting mandatory from the UI policies, guys. This caller field is actually getting mandatory from the UI policy. Okay. So even though it is coming from UI policy, still it is getting mandatory, right? Then in your script, why is it not showing as mandatory? True. Very, very logical point here you guys have to remember. So guys, the client script that we are actually running here is onload client script. This will run before the UI policy. See, here this field is getting mandatory from the UI policy. Before this field is getting mandatory, the client script is running. That is why it is returning false. Try to understand the logic here. Let me just open duplicate. I am opening the client script here. Sorry, UI policies here. Okay. So on incident table, so here it is said that is no record set mandatory false. This is the not the one which we are supposed to do. See, this caller field and assignment group fields are getting mandatory. Sorry, short description. Short description is also not mandatory. This is also not a mandatory from here. Advanced view. There is no incident table. These fields are right. These fields are getting mandatory from UI policy, I believe. So now here what am I doing is, The UI policy or data policy? I think the data policy also we'll have to take a look. Yeah. So, guys, here I have to highlight one challenge here. The reason why, even though the field is mandatory, it is not showing as mandatory. So, client scripts. UI policies. So guys, client scripts, right? This will run first. This client scripts will run first. After that, this UI policies will run. First, this client scripts will run. After that, this UI policies will run. When we are checking whether the field is mandatory from the client scripts, it is actually saying false. After that, this UI policy is running. In the UI policy, the field is getting mandatory. You are able to understand my point. Hello?
Yes, Uday, yeah.
See, here the UI policies will run after the client scripts. After running the client scripts, UI policies are making this caller and assignment group, caller and short description as mandatory. So see here, I am client script. Okay, I am client script. So I am actually enabling one UI policy. So in the UI policy also I am writing the script. Now you guys can see the difference. See, I am client side scripting, false. So here, see, I am client side scripting. See, I am UI policy. So which one is running first? Client script or UI policy?
Client script.
Client script. So in the client script, so it is actually checking whether the field is mandatory or not. So while checking, right? So it has identified that caller is By that time, color is not mandatory. After running the UI policy, so it is getting mandatory. That is why in the client script it is showing as false. Hope you guys understand why even though it was mandatory field, but it was not giving as mandatory.
Yes.
Before
Yes,
it is
Uday.
getting mandatory, the client script is running, then it has identified that it was false. This logical point, so many questions. So in the interviews, this question will be definitely asked. So client scripts will run first or UI policies will run. So here in this case, you guys have to tell them that UI policies will run after the client scripts. So first client scripts will run, after that UI policies will run. And also here they will ask you the same question. So here I'm actually making a field mandatory in the client script, and the same field I'm actually making non-mandatory in the UI policy. What will be the final outcome? So now you guys can tell me the answer.
Final outcome will be the which is the UA policy run.
See,
Yeah, it will
whatever
be
the UI
mandatory.
policy returns, that will be the final outcome. Okay. So and how to make the field read only? G underscore form dot set read only. So I want to make category field as read only. Read only true. On the form load, the category field will be read only. Category field is mandatory. So mandatory field you cannot make read only, guys. Category field is mandatory field. How can you make mandatory field as read only field? Does it make sense?
No.
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 So here in this case, what you are supposed to do, if you want to make the category field as read only field, first you will have to make read only false. G underscore form dot. First you will have to make mandatory false. Set mandatory category comma false. First you are making category as this UI policy also will have to inactivate, guys. From UI policy only, I think it is getting mandatory. From the UI policy only, it is getting mandatory. I don't think we have to write this line now. See, the category is actually read only now. So we have made the field read only using G underscore form dot set read only true. G underscore form dot set display. Set display means, so this will actually remove the field from the form. So I want to remove the configuration item field. So set display cmdb underscore ca. Cmdb underscore ca is actually the field name of configuration item. Set display false. That means I want to hide this field from the form. So if I refresh this one, the configuration item field will not be visible here. See, the configuration item is not there, right? So guys, the configuration item is not there, but I want the space as it is. So in place of set display, I will use set visible. Okay, see, the configuration item is not visible, but the space is as it is. Okay, if you want to keep the space as it is, you will use set visible as false, and then space will be as it is. If you use set display false, space also will be removed. Hope you understand. Okay, guys, are you able to understand?
Yes, Uday.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So let us say under the field, if you want to show any message, field message. Okay, if you want to show any decoration next to this field, or if you want to remove this icon from here, if you want to remove this drop down icon from here, okay, so you can do a lot of things using GlideForm, guys. So let us say if you want to remove this magnifying glass, what do you do is that you will actually inspect the element. You will actually inspect the element. Okay, so look up. So you will copy this one. Okay, so here g underscore form dot get element. Okay, what is that element? This is the element. Dot style dot display equal to none. That means you are actually hiding that magnifying glass. See, that magnifying glass is gone. Is the magnifying glass is there here?
No.
No, right? So it is looking like a string field, but still it is a reference field. Okay. Hope you understand.
Yeah.
So likewise, if you want to remove this drop down option as well. Okay. So what you can do, you can actually inspect the element. You can actually inspect the element. So there is no element for this drop down, especially this arrow below arrow icon alone. There is no element. Okay, this is totally dedicated to this none. Okay, I don't want this. So guys, in the form, whatever the things that you want to do, you will use a glide form. Okay. So you all know how to make field mandatory, read only, visible. So I'll just show you how to make how to show some field messages. G underscore form dot show field message. So caller, under caller, I want to show error. I want to show it in red color. So you will, under caller, you will be able to see a message that is, I am caller, please select any user. So likewise, you can show any message here. So if you want to show it in blue color, you will keep it as info. See, I'm caller, please select any user. So guys, you guys can see the sections, right? So, so these sections, if you want to hide, okay, what you can do is g underscore form dot set section display. So which section you want to hide? So you want to hide node section, nodes comma false. So node section will not be available. This node section will not be available. I'm just saying this one. If I refresh this one, I'll be able to only see related records and resolution information. Related records and resolution information. See, I can see only two things here now. Okay. So if you want to hide the related lists, so here, if I open already existing record, so guys, here these are called related lists, load related lists. Okay, these are called related lists. If you want to hide these related lists as well, so you can use g underscore form dot hide related lists. Hide related list means if you want to hide only one related list, you can use hide related list. If you want to hide all the related lists, you can use hide all the related lists. So if you want to hide only one related list, you will have to specify the related list name here. Okay. So how do you get the related list name here? Go here, click on this one, configure list control. In the list control, you will be able to find the related list name here. That name you will provide it over here, and which will actually hide the list. Okay. See, that related list is not visible now. We are able to see only 3. Earlier there were 4. So likewise, if you want to show related lists, you can use g underscore form dot show related list. G underscore form dot show related lists. So show related list means which will show all the related lists. Show related list means if you want to show only specific related lists, you will use show related list. Okay. You guys are able to understand?
Yeah. Yeah. Uday.
So any doubts so far, guys?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Krishna, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Can we do this for any particular group or particular user? Just like to hide any field or something, some control. When we do this for using this.
Yeah, we can do that. So here, what we can do is, if current logged in person, how to get the current logged in person details? How to get the current logged in person? So g underscore user dot
G-user.
user ID equal to particular person's SID. Then only it will run for only that person only. It will run only for that person only.
Okay.
Okay. So we can limit to only users. We can also limit to only groups. Okay, you understand it, right?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So guys, this client script should only work on a new form. That means this is actually already an existing record, right? So this client script should not work on existing records. This should only work on new record. Means you will have to use a function called g underscore form dot is new record. So this is new record, what it does, it will actually check whether the form is new form or existing record. Okay. So if sysID is there, that is actually called existing record. If sysID equal to -1, that is actually new form. Okay. So let me just remove this one. I'm just keeping an alert here. So it will actually check whether this is new form or not. So it is saying true, this is new form. So if I open an existing record, if I open an existing record, this is an existing record, right? So it will return false. It is saying this is not a new record. So G_format is new record will return whether this is a new record or existing record, it will identify. Hope you guys got it right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys, we can wind up for today, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new topic. Okay.
Yeah, Uday. Bye.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Uday sir.